And welcome on into FedEx Field for the 2-4 Commanders going up against the 3-3 Green Bay Packers. Not a place Packers fans are used to being. We're coming to you live for the next 2 hours, and we are packed with legends today on the show. It is homecoming weekend. A lot of alumni, about 130 back here today, and we'll be at FedEx Field. You're going to hear from Hall of Famer Russ Grimm, Super Bowl champion Mark Rypien, Pierre Garçon, and, of course, one of the newest additions to the 90 Greatest, our broadcast teammate, London Fletcher. So all of the legends will be joining me live on set in the South End Zone by Section 232 on the Bobby Mitchell main concourse. So if you are here at FedEx Field, come on by and see us. Of course, we are giving you live look in on the field if you're watching us on our social media platforms. This is Command Center Game Day Live on the Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and broadcasting live on our flagship Big 100 in D.C. and across the Washington Commanders radio network. So Washington ended their 4-game losing streak with a 12-7 win 10 days ago on Thursday Night Football in Chicago. Bram Weinstein was there with us for that one. A little bit of an extra day off, the weekend off actually, for the players to try and get set for this week as well. But Washington took the lead with 7 minutes to go. They posted a goal line stand in the final seconds, Bram, to hold on for the second win. Meanwhile, the Packers, oh my goodness, they are not feeling very good coming in today. They took the Big Apple sweep the past 2 weeks. First, they lost to the Giants in London. Then last week, they lost to the Jets at Lambeau Field 27-10. And then, of course, Carson Wentz, he suffered a broken finger in that game against the Chicago Bears, underwent successful surgery in Los Angeles, but the team did officially place him on IR, so he's expected to miss at least 4 to 6 weeks. So here we go, Taylor Heinicke.
Let's go. I like riding with Heinicke. I mean, I'm sorry to hear this about Wentz. I think you heard it during our open when we played it. I think we noticed it on the field as well, and it's actually somewhat surprising that he didn't end up getting pulled in this game, that he did stick in there. And recall that Wentz, it was the second half that he threw that crackback block on Roquan Smith, and he had a broken finger on his hand and probably knew that was the case. So he put his body on the line. We go back to Heinicke here, and it's funny, Ron Rivera, like 2 weeks ago, said, what's the difference between the NFC East teams and this one right now? He said, quarterback that's been in the system, it's been very different for them than for us. Well, guess who's been in the system for a year here, and with Scott Turner for a number of years, Taylor Heinicke, and clearly he brings a different element to their offense, a lot more mobility, and I think the opportunity to be a little creative with the offense, move the pocket around a little bit today.
Taylor is not afraid to use his legs. In fact, if things break down for some way, somehow, he manages to extend plays. He is that kind of guy when he's out there on the field. He's giving you every single thing that he has. And his teammates, they recognize that. They say he is a gamer. He's like, I don't necessarily have the best practices, although he feels like his practices over the last year have improved. He's gotten much more consistent. He has worked on his arm strength so he can kind of make some of those throws last year that we were unable to see him be able to necessarily connect on. Of course, he doesn't have the arm of Carson Wentz, but he does have that ability to scramble, to elude pressure, to elude the sack, and be able to try and extend that. And that is contagious. There's a different extra energy with him out there.
Yeah, he's a football player. I mean, I think it's what we like about him. And I think you're right. Like, what you see in practice is not what you see when the lights go on, and they're going to be on today because it's overcast and cloudy and rainy. I do think it's really interesting that, it's almost a year to the day when they played up in Lambeau. It was October 24th last year up in Lambeau when they played, and that was the week, if you recall, that everyone was calling for free Heinicke. Let him be himself. Mm-hmm. Stop telling him he has to do everything literally in the pocket. And that day, that score is not really emblematic of how close that game really was. There were a couple of red zone failures late, including one where Heinicke tripped over air in the red zone, and they didn't end up scoring. They lost 24-10. But he was 24-37, threw for almost 300 yards, rushed for 95. He started to show off that he has the legs, and he likes playing against the big players. He beat Tom Brady last year. He almost beat him in the playoffs. He said Aaron Rodgers is his idol and that he grew up wanting to play like him and be a gunslinger. And you heard it from Chase Young, and we've heard it throughout. Look, they went and got Carson Wentz because of the certain limitations that he has, vertical passing game, which is not really his strength. But what he does bring is this football player, gamer mentality, and I think everybody rallies around him. And at 2-4, let's ride with him. I think they've got a good shot with the way that he brings the energy to this team.
Of course, we do have the rookie Sam Howell that said he goes and he approaches every single game as if he's starting, even if he is inactive. But we do want to be able to wait just a little bit, still let him grow before, because then a lot of folks are saying, hey, let's go ahead and have Sam go. No, this is the time for Taylor to go over. He does know the system. Sam still needs a little time to really, I think, grasp on before you put him out there, because when you do put Sam out there, you want to make sure he's going to be built for success. And this offensive line so far has not proven that they can really protect the quarterback the way that you would like, the way that they need. Taylor's legs, Sam also has the ability to run, will probably potentially help them in those situations as well. Meanwhile, if we talk about Aaron Rodgers, he's not having the season that he's typically used to having. And we were talking about this coming into the game. He's actually having one of the worst seasons of his probably career if you break down certain numbers compared to others, but it's actually comparing himself to himself. Remember, he is the reigning MVP. So even his bad games, his bad self is still better than many quarterbacks out there. But what is it that you've seen that the Giants and Jets were able to do to limit him?
You know, it's interesting. If you go look at the stats, you're not used to seeing this. Aaron Rodgers is like 14th, 15th in like the quarterback stats for total yards. It's very unusual for him. Carson Wentz is ahead of him. Geno Smith is ahead of him. It's very unusual to see this. What is not clicking for them early here is downfield passing game. That is just not there. I think the difference between him and most other quarterbacks is his accuracy on the downfield passing game. What they don't have is clearly the timing, which you've heard him kind of complain about early in the season, where the receivers aren't where they're supposed to be, or maybe they're not running the routes where he would like them to. They also don't have a stud receiver anymore. Mm-hmm. They did not replace Devontae Adams. I don't want to take lightly Allen Lazard or some of these other players that they have, but he's not a P1 number one stud receiver. He burned us a year ago. He's with the Raiders now. The downfield passing game is a problem. And the other thing that they have is an issue that Washington's been dealing with, frankly, too, and that's they have a very leaky offensive line right now. Mm-hmm. They've given up a lot of sacks. He's been sacked 15 times. He's been under a tremendous amount of pressure, so the timing is off on their offense. And last week, the Jets were all over him. So there's an opportunity here to get this into kind of a low-scoring, different type of game. Don't give up a big play to him. They haven't shown the propensity to complete those passes like they have in the past. I think Washington's defense has a good shot here today.
Yeah, Randall Cobb has been dealing with injury. Sammy Watkins was activated to come back to practice. Still not sure where he's going to go. He has not been able to connect with his receivers. His tight end got the most work last week against the Jets, albeit was in a loss as well. So, meanwhile, though, Washington does give up the most deep passes, the second most in the league. So let's not let this be the day that Aaron Rodgers starts to feel his rhythm a little bit. As far as injuries go, there's no Logan Thomas once again. De'Ami Brown is not out there. No William Jackson III. Jahan Dotson re-aggravated his hamstring in practice Thursday. Sam Cosmi is still dealing with a finger, playing with a club on his hand. Said he's going to be able to see day-to-day how he goes. Packers will be without wide receiver again, Randall Cobb, and have some potential issues on that offensive line. As you mentioned, they are trying to figure out what to do and where they should move certain players. The injury report is presented by Optima Health Plan, a health plan you can count on. So Taylor Heinicke started 15 games for Washington last season in Week 7. Heinicke is back under center stage, starting against his childhood favorite team, the Green Bay Packers. Washington starting QB this afternoon talks with our captain, London Fletcher, next. You are watching Command Center Game Day live on Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and you are listening to Washington Commanders football. Time now for your player profile, brought to you by Pepsi, official soft drink of the Washington Commanders.
Cats or dogs? Dogs. Shout out to my dog Leo at home. He's the homie. And my dog Copper in Indy. Yeah, those are my guys. Definitely dogs. Dogs are. Post route or go route? I like the post route, honestly. I like the post route because I think especially against cover 4, I know I'm getting that ball if that safety bites on that underneath route. So I think go routes is fun, but post route you could kind of put a little more personality on that route, and depending on the leverage you're going to run it a little different depending on what that safety does. So it kind of not only just you're not just running fast, but you're kind of reading the defense and trying to make a play on the fly. Mountains or beaches? I'm a beach guy, definitely a beach guy. Breakfast or dinner? Breakfast guy. That's my best meal. I make the best breakfast sandwich to anybody that I've ever met personally. So, comedy or horror? Ooh, I like a good laugh, but sometimes horror movies are funny because it's like, why are you going into that barn when you know dude is sitting in there? So, Lucky Charms or Captain Crunch? So it's funny. I like Lucky Charms because of the marshmallows. So when I was younger, I used to eat just the marshmallows. I'd leave all the other stuff. Oh, y'all didn't have to do this one. The fishing or golf? Y'all gonna make me choose? Dang. I'm gonna say fishing because I've been at it a little longer. Golf is fun. I'm not gonna lie, like I got the golf bug real bad, but there's nothing like putting your line in the water and the exhilaration of pulling that fish in. You don't know what's on the other end until you pull it in.
Pizza, better with Pepsi.
You ever wonder why people are always on their phones? They're banking with Bank of America. Look at this guy. He bought those tickets on his credit card, and he's racking up the rewards.
She's using Zelle to pay him back for the hot dogs he's about to buy.
That's going to bring it to
And
a
the
close here
announcer?
after 3.
He's not checking the stats. He's finding some investment ideas with Merrill.
And third, as you know, in baseball means 3.
Digital tools so impressive, you just can't stop banking. What would you like the power to do?
Finding the Honda you really want just got easier. With a longer limited warranty, so long. And complimentary oil changes within the first year. You've never been more at peace than with Honda Certified Pre-Owned.
Well, my baby does gives me special love. It's the kind of stuff.
Honey, it's your turn.
I'm on cloud 9.
Pizza, better with Pepsi.
This is the official Washington Commanders pregame show. Here's Julie Donaldson.
And today's game is presented by the Washington Commanders fan cruise. It is Alumni Weekend. We have about 130 alumni coming back. Many of them will actually be on the fan cruise as well, including Mark Rypien. We'll be chatting with him coming up in the show. Meanwhile, I am actually wearing a varsity jacket today that you can go and purchase as well. They have pink ones. They have black ones as well. We'll see London Fletcher wearing that. It is created by a black-owned business, DC Proper. You can head to their website, dcproper.com. They've created a line just specially made for the Washington Commanders. Really cool stuff. They are local here as well, so make sure you go and check it out and get your jacket. I got the early release. A little bit of a perk of the job, but hopefully you go and get yours as well. It keeps you quite warm. So it is time now today for Taylor Heinicke, unfortunately, with Carson Wentz going to IR, suffering a broken finger that he underwent successful surgery on. Taylor Heinicke has a familiarity playing against the Green Bay Packers, as he did last year in Week 7 against them, starting 15 games for Washington last season as well. How will things be different with him? What is his mindset going into this? How has he improved as a quarterback? Will we get all those questions answered right now as Taylor is with our captain, London Fletcher.
Taylor, you got named starting quarterback by Coach Rivera on Tuesday. How's the preparation for the Packers going?
It's been going great. I feel we have a good game plan. Had a good two days of practice, and the guys are locked in. So hopefully we can go put on a show on Sunday.
You had an opportunity to go against the Packers last year, started against them in Green Bay. How was that experience going against this defense helping you for this ball game?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same defense. So a lot of the stuff that we saw on film from the tape last year that when we played them and through the games that they played this year, it's a lot of the same stuff. So we feel pretty comfortable about it, and it's all about us going out there and executing.
The Packers, they have the #1 ranked pass defense in the league, holding opponents to just 164 yards passing. What do you think will be the key for you guys to try to move the ball through the air against them?
Just taking the completion, take what's there. They don't like to give up any big shots, so you have to kind of pick and choose where you take them. And again, if they give me a little flat route for 5 yards, you got to take it. Whatever moves the chains and gets you down in the red zone. So, we see the numbers. They're first in pass defense, and but again, we just got to pick and choose where we hit them and just try to move the ball, bit by bit.
As you, it's been your third season in this offense, having an opportunity to play in the system for 3 years. What do you think you can take from that experience into Sunday's game?
Yeah, so actually I've been with Scott for a long time. I was with Norv in Minnesota. I was with him in Carolina as well. So I feel like I've been in this offense for 6-7 years now. I know it kind of like the back of my hand. It's kind of like a second language for me. But again, my biggest thing is going out there and executing. If you go out there, execute, don't turn the ball over, move the chains, I think we'll be fine.
What do you feel like you've grown the most since we've last seen you as a starter?
Yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable out there. I think that just comes with reps, and having 15 games started last year, that's huge for me, the experience, and again, just go out there and kind of keep doing my thing. Go out there, have fun, and when I need to use my legs, use my legs.
This is a totally kind of revamped playmakers at the offensive skill position. Chemistry and timing is one of the big things that you have to get with your receivers. How do you feel like that's going so far?
Yeah, the timing with Terry's has been there. We had a lot of work with him last year, but Jahan is different. I haven't really got to throw to him, since OTAs. It's kind of Carson's been working with him for the longest time. So hopefully get some timing out here this week with him. Logan's not in there, so we're working with Cole and Armani and stuff like that. So if I can start understanding their timing and their routes, I think we'll be just fine.
Prepared for today's start. I saw him walking in here. He seemed cool, calm, confident, getting set to take his first start this season against the team that he grew up rooting for, the Green Bay Packers. Of course, this one being at FedEx Field. Hopefully you're coming out and joining us for Alumni Weekend. There are a lot of legends walking around FedEx Field today. We're going to have some joining me here on set as the show does go on. You're watching Command Center Game Day Live on the Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and you are listening to the Washington Commanders Football Radio Network.
Dude. Fire. Grill master, huh?
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
The odds of the universe forming, your parents meeting and birthing you is basically zero. So what is life? A chance. And every moment, a bet. Like hearing your alarm. Betting if the milk is still milk. Betting on the durability of grocery bags. And betting when politics will come up at dinner. Yes, we all bet on the game of life, but life doesn't offer you $150 in free bets when you bet just 5. So when it comes to the NFL, bet on America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel, and make every moment more.
Finding the Honda you really want just got easier. With a longer limited warranty, so long. And complimentary oil changes within the first year. You've never been more at peace than with Honda Certified Pre-Owned.
Washington Commanders football is back, and so is our BOGO. On game day, buy 1 large pizza and get a 2nd large pizza for free. Order online or download the app today. Paisanos, official pizza partner of the Washington Commanders.
Got your opportunity to get into the end zone. First TD as a NFL player on the road against the Chicago Bears. The go-ahead touchdown, too, at that. What did that moment feel like for you?
Man, honestly, that was the dream for me, man. Like, just want to play in this league for so long and, working so hard up to that point and, going through what I went through, being faced with adversity, so close, ahead of the season. And, spending the first 4 weeks in recovery mode, to get back on the field week 5 and, having to start week 6 and having my team pull out the win, that's just, everything that I was looking forward to coming back for, like, those type of opportunities and, giving my team a chance to win.
And I'm joined by one of our legends that played for the Washington football team, the Redskins. And you've got a nice little Legends sweatshirt on there, celebrating with some of your fellow teammates, as well as we are celebrating a lot this weekend, including the 40th anniversary of Super Bowl 17, which you were a part of. Rick Doc Walker joins me now. Doc, what's it like being around so many former teammates and everybody coming out for this weekend?
It's always great, especially seeing the guys you don't get to see at all. Mm-hmm. Like Monty Coleman, guy used to beat us up in practice every day. Now he's a nice guy. We're seeing AJ. I guess Anthony Jones, for me, anybody who you worked with every day that was in your meeting room that you saw growth as a rookie, and then he tells you the impact that you had on his life just by helping him. Terry Orr, I didn't see T.O., but Didier, Donnie Warren, saw Donnie when I came in. Jeff Bostic, but just seeing their kids. So I saw Lynn and Bostic when she was holding like this. Now she's taller than I am, It shows that you're aging, even though you may like it or not like it, but I think of them, their kids being infants, and now they're adults. It's a little scary.
They always say it's better than the alternative. So glad that you're here
and
you get to celebrate with everybody
yeah.
as well as we're getting set for the Green Bay Packers. Look, there's a lot of talk. I know, a lot of the alumni were able to meet up with the current players leading up to this game and kind of press on and pass on some of their wisdom. You're around a little bit more than a lot of guys that don't get to be here in town, and you're the only member of the Hogs and the Fun Bunch. Part of being both?
Well, it's a tight end position. Just like you guys, the guys we have in that room now is a very talented room, but you're asked to do two things.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be at least have membership in both clubs, if you will. It's the only position that really does that, even though safety, not a box safety, and the free safety. So it just happened that way. Virgil C., good seeing him. It's crazy. I didn't realize that, but it's a fact. And Virgil and Charlie Brown, I haven't seen downtown Charlie Brown, but Larry Brown, for me, is money because now I'm the kid at home in 1972 with the poster in my room, and Brig Owens, God rest his soul. Those are the guys for me. Seeing those guys inducted into the Hall of Fame here, Mike Bass, that 72 team is my favorite team. So, yeah, it's a lot to it.
There are a lot of nicknames back then, and I think sometimes we want to try and force that on the current team. They're like, well, we just kind of have to, first off, probably do something to earn that. The posse was also here as well. We saw Art Monk, Gary Clark, Ricky Sanders. The trio of them had dinner with the wide receivers this week, and it was really kind of special seeing them out at practice
and
watching
they loved it
as well. What was it that was so great about that unit?
How they work, how hard they work. To have James Arthur Monk in town is awesome.
Yeah.
That's what really makes this game great. I wish we connected a little bit better with all of our Gold Jacket guys. It's a lot of fun. But when they went to go practice and meet with the receivers, that's what they talked to me about on the bus. DC Prime, what more can I say? But they had a ball.
One of my favorite places to ever, if you're out in Ashburn, make sure you do stop by DC Prime. They're a sponsor of the franchise as well.
Just throw a name around. It works. I do it all the time.
It does. I was there the other night. It's kind of like my local place. Everybody greets me with a hug.
Yeah.
Just really great staff there as well. Okay, let's get to a little bit about today's game. It's great to have everybody back, but you want to be able to put on a win. You want to be able to get 2 wins in a row here. And it's Taylor Heinicke taking over as, unfortunately, Carson Wentz underwent surgery. Apparently, he knew at halftime that he was going to be in a little bit of trouble. Carson did. Yeah. But he still did finish the game. But, it is Taylor. How does this offense change with Taylor?
It expands because Carson was dealing with injuries, and also he was not blessed with the best offensive line production, and especially in the pocket, guards, 2 guards, and center. But this kid has wheels. Now, how Coach Turner employs him, that's the secret question. But he will have more options. And he's exciting. And the team needs a spark, and he's that spark.
Is there a certain area where you see this game? Like, are we going to, because the Green Bay Packers will allow you to run on them. I think they give up, on average, 4.9 yards per carry. Mm-hmm. We saw how they used Robinson and Antonio Gibson last week. Gibson came in and gave a spark, and they're saying, okay, we need to give the touches enough to AG. But you do have to be able to share that ball a little bit. Do you see this being a game where we rely more on the run, also with the capabilities of what Taylor can do?
I like to run all the time, and I thought he was dynamic. Gibson, he was dynamic. You could tell that he wants to play, and I think he earned the right. I thought he was the best back on the field. And I'd like it to be just whoever's the most productive plays the most.
You've got to give it to the hot hand. They like the duo of both of them as well. Yeah. Defensively, Aaron Rodgers is not what we've typically seen, but he doesn't have the receiving core that he used to have either. While Washington does give up the second most deep passes in the league, you're going to have to be able to stop the run. They have some very capable backs as well. How do you see us defensively holding up against Green Bay today?
Our interior front has been awesome. I hope they saw the Jets film. the Jets depleted the Packers. They gutted them, and there was nothing they could do about it. Our investments on the D-line, I expect us to follow that. Aaron is going to click on eventually. I hope it's not today, and I think our secondary is growing. I mean, the team is talented.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to get credit for it, and the only way you get credit for it in this league is you got to win.
Well, again, William Jackson III will not be playing today, but Benjamin St. Juste has done really a great job growing into that position and that role as well. Our pregame show is presented by the Washington Times, the exclusive reporting and proud partner of the Washington Commanders. Okay, Doc, one of your favorites joins us when we come back here, the only kicker to win MVP.
Mark Mosley.
Mark Mosley.
My man.
He is joining us next. You're watching Command Center Game Day Live on the Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and you are listening to the Washington Commanders football. Time now for your Fresh Takes, brought to you by Safeway, the official supermarket of the Washington Commanders. We have Santana Moss and Logan Paulson, and these are your fresh take against the Green Bay Packers. It is homecoming weekend. About 130 alumni coming back for this game. Get really excited for that, so you want to put on a good performance as well. Logan, what would be your fresh take?
My fresh take is I think they're going to find ways to get Antonio Gibson explosive touches in the run game. I think when you look at the last couple of weeks, teams have done a great job against the Packers in terms of finding ways to get their playmakers the ball. And if you look at Gibson's long run against the Bears, that was a game plan run. So I expect to see more of that. Get him touches, get him in space, speak to his skill set, and I think that's going to bode well for this offense this week.
That's one thing that offensive coordinator Scott Turner says that you definitely want, but that's, it's the good and the bad. You have Brian Robinson out there, you have Antonio Gibson, you have one ball, but you have to have them feed off of each other,
sure.
Have one maybe set up the other, a little change of pace to confuse the defense and make those big plays.
My fresh take would be that due to the fact that we have the alumni in town this week, we would see more burgundy and gold in the stands.
We'd love to see it.
Than that green and gold, because I believe, for the last few weeks we've been seeing the opposite team, traveling a lot. And we don't want to see that at home. So we will have more guys in the stands rooting for us than the opposing team.
And I love it. Every fan that comes is going to be one of those the seat cushions. Commemorative seat cushions.
It's always nice
of course,
to get
it's
free
coming
stuff.
a little bit later in the game. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great to see all the legends that played for this franchise and all the cheerleaders coming back as well, about 90 of them. So it's going to be a really great day on Sunday.
From selecting the perfect produce and triple checking its quality to preparing it for you, we have perfected the art of fresh.
This is Maya Titan. She's smiling because her small culinary supply store, Titan's Pans, is up and running. And this is NFL star Derrick Henry, accidentally tagging Titan's Pans instead of his loyal fans. Which, very unexpectedly, has her business trending. And trending, and trending, and oh my. And there goes the internet. Good thing Maya uses FedEx to help prepare for unexpected demand. Because you never know what's next.
And we are brought to you by RTS, a better waste company. Find out more at rts.com. Joining us now is Mark Mosley, won MVP as a kicker. That's quite an accomplishment.
Well, it's a long time ago.
So you're saying we won't see that again?
No, probably not. Not with the way things go today. But now, you've got some great kickers right now. Justin Tucker over here is just doing things that have never been done before. And I remember I was the first kicker to kick 2 50-yard field goals in one game, and it seemed like it was unreal, to people back then. But now they're kicking 60-yarders like they're, it's just an everyday occurrence.
Yeah. You obviously don't want to be in a situation where you're kicking 60.
Oh, no.
But the fact that they do have the leg that can do that.
Yeah.
The game has definitely changed a lot, as you also were the scoring leader in 1983. We don't see that happening too often either.
And that record stood for a while until Gary Anderson broke it with and it's ironically, I was in Baltimore when he broke it. He was with Minnesota, and I was doing some stuff for Sprint, I think it was at the time. So I was at the game, and nobody even knew it, and he scored his 162nd point, which beat me by 1 point at that game that I happened to be at. So.
Oh, by just one. It feels like really like one.
Yeah,
okay.
that
Look, you still had quite a career, won a Super Bowl as well. It's great to have you back here.
Thank you.
With a lot of the fellow alums. I know we get to see you a little bit throughout the year, but there's a lot of guys that came back this weekend that you probably haven't seen in a while. What's it been like so far, the activities leading up?
This is an exciting week for the alumni. The guys really appreciate that. I know it's not said enough. We appreciate it that Dan and Tanya are willing to do this every year and bring the guys back and put them up. We stay all weekend together at a hotel around town, and we had a big far away last night, and everybody had a good time.
Have a couple of your teammates from that 1982 championship team as well. What was it that made that team so special?
I think more than anything, it was the camaraderie of the guys being together. I mean, we were what you would really call a team. I mean, the guys, we had everything. We had special teams. We had offense, defense. And if the offense was having an off day, the defense and special teams would pick it up. And same thing any other time. So it was just a group of guys who really cared about one another. We were a true family. It was Coach Gibbs' only his second year here, and no one were expecting us to do anything of any value that year. And here we were in the Super Bowl. And it really was I was watching that out here. They were showing highlights from the Super Bowl years and brought tears into my eyes to remember those times and how great of a time it was here in Washington for everybody.
I think the fan base would agree as well. I know coming into this game, they were having a bus taking everybody around Ring Road to represent that two-tier bus of the Super Bowl parades that this fan base just loved so much and wants to get back to. Of course, this season has not started the way Washington would like it, 2-4.
But, you know, in 1981, we started off 0-5. And we came back and went 8-8 that season, and then the next year we went to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, there's always time. There's time for them to turn it around, for the guys to get together. We're going to have a new quarterback today out there who we all know from last year. Heinicke, I think, has a great ability to be able to pull this team together. And what was nice about last year was the way the team rallied around him and when he had to come in. And it was just, I think they really – they got so much talent. I just can't believe they can't pull it together.
I think that is something. Whenever I talk to somebody that won a Super Bowl, they do talk about the camaraderie and how the guys played very selfless out there as well. And that's one thing that you really have to put everything aside and be there for your fellow brother that's out on the field for him. Taylor, they do have the chance today to say, okay, this is who we're going to get behind. How are you anticipating the offense looking different? Because it's offensively, we've had some challenges. Offensively, we've had some challenges. It's been offensive at times. Being able to score, convert the red zone, extend plays. How is that?
I do think today we're going to see more of a running offense, and I think you're going to see a lot more sprint out work from Heinicke getting out there. You know, he's got some good wheels on him. He moves around well, and he's got a lot of guts. And I think you're going to see our team rally around him, number one in the offense, and I think the defense. They like I said earlier, they have too much talent not to be able to somehow come out of what they've been doing and be able to
what
stop.
Do you think it'll take for things to click?
I think it's just the guys realizing what they have and the opportunity they have here. You know, that's once you've gotten into the realm, and part of the problem here for years has been they just don't know how to win. They just haven't gotten that feeling. Because I can remember how confident we were. We never believed those years when we were in all those Super Bowls for 12, 14 years there. That run, we didn't believe there was anybody that could beat us on a Sunday. And it's a lot of confidence. I've told kids when I'm working with them for kicking, and I tell them, I said, the biggest thing you can build in yourself is your confidence in yourself. Never be afraid to get out there and do it. And these guys on our team, they have the ability. They just got to start believing as a team. If they come together, they all start getting on the same page, they can do it.
Seems to me that also would require a lot of leadership.
It does.
As somebody stepping up in the locker room, offensively, defensively, and saying that this is what we have and what we need to do.
And it doesn't need to be just one guy, though. It doesn't have to be. For us, I know when we were in those years, we had leaders galore. I mean, we had a defensive lineman, we had offensive lineman, we had the Hogs. They were, even though they weren't so outspoken, they were the lead. They were big leaders for us because we followed them. And I think leaders lead by example. Mm-hmm. And I think if a couple of guys out here start really leading by example, and they start, the rest of the guys are going to rally around that, and before you know it, you've got a winning team.
Today is another opportunity for them to lead by example here at FedEx Field on homecoming weekend in front of the legends that played. About 130 Washington former players coming back today to watch this game. Mark Mosley just being one of them. Thank you so much for stopping by. Good to always see you.
It's good to be here. I appreciate it. It's
All
fun.
Right. Well, when we come back, we're going to go down to the field and bring in a leader from our team and a leader when he was on the field as well, London Fletcher. You are watching Command Center Game Day Live on the Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and this is the Washington Commanders Football Radio Network.
The odds of the universe forming, your parents meeting and birthing you is basically zero. So what is life? A chance, and every moment a bet. Like hearing your alarm, betting if the milk is still milk, betting on the durability of grocery bags, and betting when politics will come up at dinner. Yes, we all bet on the game of life, but life doesn't offer you $150 in free bets when you bet just 5. So when it comes to the NFL, bet on America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel, and make every moment more.
Toyota is the #1 selling retail brand in America, thanks to a steady supply of new vehicles, which means faster delivery to you. And now with special financing options. Choose an electrified 40 MPG RAV4 hybrid right now with low 2.49% APR. Or take 2.49% financing on an efficient 36 MPG Highlander. Visit your Toyota dealer and reserve yours today. Toyota, let's go places.
I'm Donnell Rawlins, and to my left, Doug Williams. And to my right, if you know this face right here, Dexter Manley. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
They said that you were nuts in the locker room.
Wow.
They said that you were the worst dancer in the locker room. They said you never used lotion in the locker room, and you was the ashiest person on the team.
I'm going to say this. He did use some kind of grease or something.
10W40 or something.
Whatever it was, because he was greased up.
That when you start talking about the biggest Super Bowl memories, the biggest comebacks, it never comes up.
The offensive line now was a Doug Williams thing.
Right.
You know, not to take anything away from the other guy, what have you. Joe Bugle, who was the offensive line, used to call me Stud. He used to tell the offensive line, he said, hey guys, he ain't going nowhere, because I wasn't running nowhere.
We knew that too. Whenever if you would get 3 yards, you'd be like, oh man, take him out the game.
It wasn't no beef. I just kicked his ass.
Okay.
I like the Cowboys over the
Stop
Houston Oilers.
saying you like the Cowboys! Okay. Finish the story about how you were a Cowboy fan. Go.
You don't have to hide behind that.
I'm hiding behind it. I don't trust anything. Go.
So football was in my blood because my daddy loved the Dallas Cowboys.
Man, this interview over, man. That was fun.
About a deal for football season from Lido Pizza. Get an 18-inch 2-topping Lido Pizza, 8 pieces of cheesy garlic bread, and a half-pound of boneless wings for only $36.99 plus tax. Joining me now is another one of our legends, but we get to see him each and every week, so it's not just homecoming weekend that London Fletcher is here with me as London joins in now. Okay, London, you were already in the Ring of Fame, but this year you were voted into the 90 greatest as well. And this weekend you were able to celebrate with a lot of fellow alumni. How has this weekend gone for you? And is there anybody you were kind of really excited to be able to reconnect with?
I'll tell you what, Julie, last night was amazing just being around a lot of the guys who wore the burgundy and gold, some of them before me, and then obviously seeing some of my teammates that I played with was just an amazing event, amazing job by all the guys last night and all the people who put that together. I was seeing Art Monk. I mean, he's an iconic figure here in this franchise. I hadn't seen Art in a number of years, but just to see him, man, that was probably the highlight, just because of who Art is and what he's represented and what he represented when he played here.
I know I had the opportunity to meet him at the park earlier. He was out there with Ricky Sanders and Gary Clark coming out and talking to the wide receiving corps out there. And I think that's really important, is for our history to be connected with our present. And I know that's something that we've really consciously wanted to do this season as we are celebrating our 90th anniversary, technically our 91st season. But it's a very storied franchise with 3 Super Bowl teams. And, of course, those guys doing it the absolute best. The receiving corps is not going to have De'Ami Brown. Jahan Dotson with his hamstring. Logan Thomas still not out there. And you have a different quarterback trying to throw to them in Taylor Heinicke. How are you seeing this game adjust today?
Well, it definitely hurts us not having De'Ami and not having Jahan. But some other guys are going to have to step up, and, whether it's Cam Sims or Dax Milne having to play a bigger role. And obviously the running backs, I think, will play a bigger role, not just as running the football, but also maybe you get Gibson involved more in the passing game. Also, I can see McKissick catching a lot more passes. But with Taylor running the show, I expect to see a little bit more run-oriented offense. And then when the opportunity presents itself off play action, taking his shots down the field that way, forcing Green Bay to come up, play more 8-man boxes, and create one-on-one matchups down the field with our receivers.
Last season Green Bay did not know entirely what to expect from Taylor Heinicke. He ran for over 90 yards on them. This week, Matt LaFleur, their head coach, who was also a coach here in Washington quite a few years ago, was asked, would you rather see Carson Wentz or Taylor Heinicke? He's like, I'm not going to answer that question. But I do know, and they are very well aware of the threat that Taylor poses with his legs. We're also very well aware that the offensive line has had their fair share of issues this season, staying healthy, rotating through different players, going through multiple centers. And yet now you've got to change with the quarterback. And so I think we can anticipate a little bit of an adjustment. And of course, you've got the pass blocking that has not been as you would want either. How much do you think Taylor can help that unit and that situation?
Well, I think he'll help a lot just with his mobility, also his ability to, his comfort level of knowing the system, having played several years in it, and just seeing things maybe a lot quicker just because of his comfort level, where this is Carson's first year in the system. And then when things break down, Taylor has that unique ability to make things happen off schedule, whether he's going to keep it and run the ball himself or scramble outside the pocket and allow receivers to uncover. That's something that puts a lot of pressure on your defense, having to make sure he's not allowed to get outside the pocket, and the defensive backs are going to have to cover a little bit longer.
For Aaron Rodgers, what have you seen the challenges that he's faced this season?
When you lose a guy like Devontae Adams, man, that's as great as Aaron Rodgers is. That was his guy. I mean, it's hard to replace 123 receptions and over 1,500 yards. They've tried to do it with some young receivers, and they just haven't quite been on the same page. Some of the guys have been injured as well, and there's been some issues with the offensive line and protecting Aaron Rodgers. You can see his frustration at times, but then you also see his ability to make those plays that only Aaron Rodgers can make. He still has that great ability to make some throws that only he can make.
He can, and they've got a couple of running backs that are more than capable. Their offensive line, they were talking about coming into this week and making changes and moving guys from right to left, from guard to tackle, and they don't seem to have had it entirely figured out. So maybe that's an opportunity for our guys and the tackles and the defense to really kind of get at them. But they're going to have to stop the run as well, something that Washington struggled a little bit against. How do they need to approach that today?
Well, you have to be able to stop the run. We got to play it better than we did, 10 days ago against the Chicago Bears. And going into that game, we have been playing a run extremely well. I'm sure, the coaches have done a great job of trying to shore up those things, so that's not an issue going into this game. Green Bay has two very capable running backs of being able to hurt you. You know, not only running the football, but also catching the ball out of the backfield, especially Aaron Jones. But you have to be able to get them in third and long situations. You can't have a situation where you're allowing them to run the football on you. They're in a bunch of third and short situations. And also, now you're having to commit more resources to stopping the run, and that allows Aaron Rodgers to take advantage of some matchups on the back end.
Yep, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, a very formidable running duo there. Okay, London Fletcher, thanks so much for joining me. Talking about the injuries, here you go. That is our injury report. Inactive for Washington is Jahan Dotson as he retweaked his hamstring in practice this week. Wide receiver De'Ami Brown. Tight end Logan Thomas dealing with the calf injury. Cornerback William Jackson III with a back injury. Running back Jonathan Williams injured his knee. Guard Chris Paul. Sam Cosmi is active. He was practicing with a club on his hand, trying to figure out how to use it. Cornelius Lucas, though, is still starting at right tackle for the Packers. A big one for them. We're talking about the challenges they have on the offensive line. David Bakhtiari is out. That is very significant for them. They will have wide receiver Sammy Watkins. He has not played since week 2. We'll see if he has the ability to stretch the field for them. When we come back, though, today's injury report and inactive report is presented by Optima Health Plan, a health plan you can count on. And when we come back, I already teased it. I'm letting you know he's coming. I am so excited. Mark Rypien, MVP of Super Bowl 26, joins me next. You are watching Command Center Game Day live on the Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and you're listening to Washington Commanders football.
Veterans, you may have earned a variety of VA benefits. Did you know VA can help you further your education and pursue professional training? The Home Loan Guarantee Program can help you buy, repair, or adapt a home. VA provides housing support if you find yourself homeless or at risk of homelessness. And don't forget world-class health care. Learn more about these and other VA benefits. Visit choose.va.gov.
Finding the Honda you really want just got easier. With a longer limited warranty, so long. And complimentary oil changes within the first year. You've never been more at peace than with Honda Certified Pre-Owned.
With the Game of Life scratch-off from the Maryland Lottery, all roads lead to fun. Play the Game of Life scratch-off today and get your chance to win up to $1 million.
That's why when I practiced, I ran full speed to make sure they knew where I was going to be. And I had a lot of teammates that were mad at me because in practice, if they say the hole is supposed to be there, you were standing there.
Get out the way.
I ran right over you.
I love that.
And in the game, I was still getting that butt up out the hole. So
you get about the hole.
The kickoff return, I love it. You said that the NFL record is unique. You'd say that's true or false?
I still think that's true. I still think that's true. Yeah, I knew it is.
I think I had 2 carries for 105 yards, 85 yard and a 20 yard.
Yeah, that's not something you can make up.
And the 13th NFL career touchdown is false. Hester ended up breaking that.
Oh.
Your first career interception with Washington against? Ooh. How to know the first interception?
No, that's with Washington, though. I was in Seattle before that. Let me see. Was it Green Bay?
Nah.
The Giants?
Nah.
Who was it?
All right, I'm going to give you Baltimore Ravens, quarterback Kyle Borland, Week 5, October 10th, 2004.
Yeah, it was against the Ravens. That's right. Damn, I forgot about that.
Oh, and I love homecoming weekend because we get to have all the legends around today. And now I have Mark Rypien. He played in Washington from 1986 to 93. Of course, quarterback the burgundy and gold to one of the most prolific offensive seasons in NFL history, en route to winning Super Bowl 26, being named Super Bowl MVP in 1991. Mark Rypien joins me now.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
Glad to have you here. How is this weekend? Have you been get to connect with a lot of former of your teammates?
Well, we had a good turnout. So great last night. We went to Taffer's Tavern, which is right next to the Cap Center, and I was like going, gosh, I really want to go watch the
Caps
play.
Game.
But it was actually better just being around the guys and seeing the fish stories keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's always great to honor the past and respect the present and build for the future. So that's why we come out here to try to cheer our guys on, get them hopefully to a place where they're playing good football and we're winning games again.
I was hearing Brian Mitchell talking about coming on earlier, saying they tell the same stories, but to your point, every year the story makes the individual look even better and greater, and the team look better and greater. Which still, look, they were some of the greatest teams put together here. One of the main reasons was the Hogs.
Well, the only reason, you're only as good as the guys up front, and we were spoiled. I was spoiled anyway. Is having 2 world championships and then getting the ball and saying, "Hey, get us another one." And in the 80s and 90s, it was so unique here in Washington D.C. because there wasn't free agency. You couldn't go anywhere, so you stayed here as a family. You did things on and off the field together, and you became entrenched in the community here. And I think that's why the relationship we have with our fans and how rabid they were at RFK and amazing and difficult it was for opponents to play there. It was just a great environment and very, very blessed to play in that era.
I know anytime I'd meet any of that unit, they would say, hey, we are the reason that you have 3 different quarterbacks, 3 different running backs, and 3 Super Bowls is because of that unit, the Hogs. And we know how dear they are to the fans. They still will go out in times and even dress up as the Hogs. Many wanted that to be our mascot or even our team name because of what they mean to this franchise. But what was it about that unit? Because we understand how challenging it is to be able to get those guys to stay healthy, to have that consistency that allowed them to have that success.
Well, I think that's the key to any world championship team, no matter whether it's here in Washington or anywhere else. If you stay healthy, keep those guys healthy, and you have the continuity that they had for a long period of time, it's a brotherhood they basically shared in what they did. And it's sad, and you being a journalist, can you get out there and get our guys, some of these guys in the Hall of Fame? There should be 2 or 3 others I personally believe that should be there, and they're just a great part of this community, and they're even better people, when you get to meet them.
Last year, we celebrated the 30th anniversary of the 1991 Super Bowl, and I know we had a great time at a dinner at DC Prime as well, talking and sharing some of those stories. Is there a moment from that season that might stand out to you?
Yeah, they're walking right by here.
Yeah,
Gary Clark and Ricky Sanders. Yes. 2 of the posse, and of course the 3rd is here. Art Monk's here too. So what stood out was, there's the seat cushion game. It was just everything that happened and what we set out to do, the 1st of September, and we didn't have a great preseason. I didn't play very well. We're very vanilla, and Redskin fans at that time, they were used to winning. So when you're not playing well, they get on you a little bit. And we just started from day one and took off. And of course, Tony Kornheiser got the bandwagon going, and we just kept going with it. And we believed in that group of guys there in the locker room, and that parlayed it onto the field, and just was an amazing season with a great group of guys, and a lot of them here this week.
Some of them will tell me, and Gary Clark will probably say this as he's coming up next, they didn't know how to lose. The expectation, the standard was you go to the Super Bowl every year. The expectation, the standard was that you do win. And that's kind of like the right mindset. But you yourself, you were here for a couple seasons before you did get that starting job. Taylor Heinicke being here, now coming in. What can you expect, and what's the challenge for him as that backup having to come in, and now it falls on his shoulders?
Yeah, Doug talked about it the other night. We had the like an open session here with some of our suite holders, and just talked general about what it is to be a backup quarterback here. You have to have the mindset of being a starter. I think that's what Taylor's done. My nephew in Denver is going to get an opportunity to play this week too. Both number 4s, Brett Rypien and Taylor Heinicke, are going to get an opportunity to try to lead their franchises back. And it's just a cool thing. And we also know that we have to have as a backup. You got to be ready to go at any point in time.
All right, thank you so much, Mark Rypien. Our pregame show presented by the Washington Times, the exclusive reporting and proud partner of the Washington Commanders. You're watching Command Center Game Day live on the Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms. You're listening to Washington Commanders football.
I didn't get.
Time now for your keys to winning, brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? We have Logan Paulson and Santana Moss, and these are your keys to winning. We know Washington wants to put together a 2-game winning streak, and of course it's homecoming weekend. Yeah. You want everybody to feel good about themselves. Santana, your number one key thing that has to happen.
Number one key to winning this week, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. No self-inflicting penalties. I believe the last 2 weeks, offensively and defensively, we crippled ourselves on both sides of the ball with these self-inflicting, penalties. So must put an end to that in order for us to have a chance to win.
27 penalties in the last 3 games. It's really hard to overcome that many, and the yards that have gone with it in the opposite direction. You can't play the Packers and yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. For my keys to winning is how this secondary matches up with the kind of limited skill position players for the Green Bay Packers. I think they have a guy in Alan Lazard who's a good football player, but I think Benjamin St-Juste matches up very nicely. They've got 2 young football players who are coming into their own, and I think that matchup favors Washington. And you can see when they play the New York Giants, when they play the New York Jets, those defensive coverage groups were able to kind of stymie Aaron Rodgers because they were able to stymie those receivers. So I expect a very productive day from that secondary with regards to that.
I know last week Rodgers wasn't exactly taking advantage of his receivers. They had 18 targets, just 8 catches between Lazard and Dobbs out there. It was really his tight end that he relied on a good bit last week. But this is not when you want them to try and get hot on you at all. There you go, keys to winning.
You ever wonder why people are always on their phones? They're banking with Bank of America. Look at this guy. He bought those tickets on his credit card and he's racking up the rewards.
She's using Zelle to pay him back for the hot dogs he's about to buy.
That's going to bring it to
And
a
the
close here
announcer,
after 3.
he's not checking the stats. He's finding some investment ideas with Merrill.
And third, as you know, in baseball means 3.
Digital tools so impressive, you just can't stop banking. What would you like the power to do?
It's 4th down, seconds on the clock. He hands it off, finds a hole in the middle. Clear, nothing but Brian, move! A touchdown for the win. I can't believe it.
Pizza, better with Pepsi.
Finding the Honda you really want just got easier. With a longer limited warranty, so long. And complimentary oil changes within the first year. You've never been more at peace than with Honda Certified Pre-Owned.
Well, my baby doll gives me special love. It's the kind of stuff.
Honey, it's your turn.
Pizza, better with Pepsi.
live from the Bobby Mitchell Concourse near Section 232. If you're coming on out to FedEx Field, make sure you stop by and join us. It is right across the way from Legends Plaza, which is where all the alumni have been hanging out, but we're fortunate to bring a few around here and join us as well. We have Ricky Sanders and Gary Clark, both played 8 years for the Washington team. Both won 2 Super Bowls for the team and franchise as well. And back here celebrating. We get to see Gary a lot around these parks, and, man, he is coveted when he goes to the park. The receivers love to be able to chat with him. But you, Ricky, we don't get to see you too often, but you had the chance to come on out, meet some of the guys as well, and celebrate with some of your former teammates. How's this weekend been?
Man, this has been exciting for me. We came in and talked to the receivers Thursday night, and then visiting with all the ex-players, man. It's like being back at home again.
What was the biggest, I mean, I know you can't, it was just for you guys only, just for the posse and the receivers, but what was the biggest message or that you learned or that maybe you imparted on them?
Pretty much we was just telling them they're going to have to be the leaders of the team. The receivers, when we was Gary, Art, and myself, we took it on our own back and said, hey, we're going to win this, and we're winning the Super Bowl. So we just tried to, just instill that into their mind, like, hey, step it up, let's do it.
Gary?
Yes, basically we was letting them know that sometimes you have to impose your own will to win football games. And it's important that you put the weight on your shoulders from time to time. Not every game, but there's times when each player, each receiver would have to step up and become the guy for the team. It can't always be Terry McLaurin. It has to be Terry. It has to be all those guys. Number 17, number 10, number 1, and number 2. Those guys all had to step up at different times. And the supporting cast as well. I mean, it's literally probably one of the best receiving corps that I've seen them have overall. I'm talking about 6, 7 deep. Than we've had in a long time, probably since we played, quite honestly.
Right.
I know this season there was a lot of excitement for this unit. Unfortunately, Jahan Dotson's been dealing with a hamstring injury. De'Ami Brown gets out there and shows that he can step up, and now he's not active and playing, and you're down your tight end as well. So this unit's kind of coming together, working now with yet a different quarterback as well. But, there's no excuses, right?
No excuse. They're professionals. They know what they have to do, and anytime you get out there, your backup's got to be as good as your starters. So it's just simple as that. You got to get up and step up and let's do it.
And I mean, this is living proof right here. For example, our 87 season is similar in parts to the Commander season this year but you have a change in the guard and quarterbacks. We started off with Jay Schrader. We got Doug. We went back to Jay. Came back to Doug. Doug takes us to the Super Bowl. We started off receiver-wise with me and Art. We ended up receivers-wise with me and Ricky. So changing of the guard, like Ricky said, is next man up means next man up. You shouldn't lose any ability to score points and to win games.
Right. Shouldn't even be able to tell if it's a second backup starter or whatever.
One of the things that Taylor Heinicke said this week coming in, he says, look, any man in that locker room would be lying to you if they weren't excited for their opportunity, no matter how it comes, be it injury in front of them or next. It is your opportunity to step up, and we're going to have to see how Taylor Heinicke and this unit does do that today. But let's talk about Super Bowl 22. When did you guys realize, or did you, that history was happening in that record-breaking second quarter there?
I think we were just so excited. We were down 10 to zip, and for us to come back the way we did in that one quarter, it was like we just couldn't believe it. It was like balls were going everywhere, and Timmy Smith was running, and the line was protecting it. You know what? Starting off with that 80-yard touchdown, I was pretty happy.
It literally was. It was perfection, and very rarely do you see perfection in the game. And our perfection in a quarter would win most 4-quarter games. It was unbelievable. And again, it started all with Ricky Sanders and the guy coming up there, and he had no thing to do. He's supposed to be in cover 3. He came up and bumped Ricky, just decided he was going to come up and bump Ricky, and it completely changed the outcome of the game. Ricky goes 80 yards for the first score, and then history was written.
Yep.
9 catches, 193 with 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
And Gary will
Super Bowl records, by the way.
Let me get this on record. He's been haunting me ever since that.
Well, I've heard him say multiple times that he is resentful that you were Joe Gibbs' favorite receiver out there.
Yeah, but I ran a route and caught a 50-yard touchdown, but I ran the wrong route. I was supposed to go to Gary, so
he took my touchdown away from me.
He won't let me down.
I don't know that I would either, though. He might have something there.
I tell you what, though, but I mean, Ricky was pure. Ricky and Doug, I mean, basically, Ricky is Doug's favorite receiver, has been. They've worked so well together. Their chemistry is just undeniable. That whole season, anytime Doug came into play, Ricky was there to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when you start out as the third wide on our team at the time the 2 receivers sat, and your starter is Art Monk, you don't really think you're going to be able to play, but he knew he was going to play because he knew how good he was.
By the way, we know Art Monk is here somewhere. He was supposed to join us.
We told him, I said, hey, Julie wants to talk to you, and he ran. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't leave much of an impression the other day when I met him out at the
he
facility.
loves you. They're just taking him everywhere because Art's rarely here, so he's everywhere right now.
Well, you got to tell him the priorities that we have around here. Gary, you know.
Well,
Ricky got the memo.
Yeah. I was a little jealous that, you was going to talk to Art, so I told him to go somewhere else.
We want everybody joining us here on our show. We have to celebrate.
So we wouldn't have got any mic time with Art here.
Yeah, I hear he dominates the conversation very much.
He talk all.
Correct. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. I know there's a lot of people that want to say hi to you. Appreciate you taking some time, and of course for being out there passing some wisdom on to this receiving corps that we have here as well, and hopefully a good game will go on.
Thank you so much, Shu.
Thank you, Shu.
All right.
Anytime we can be with you, it's great.
Good. Well, when you're in town, we're hooking you up. All right. We are presented by Chesapeake Employers Insurance Company, now with lower workers' comp rates and a corporate dividend. When we come back, London Fletcher is going to join us again. We're going to talk about how you can shut down Aaron Rodgers this afternoon. You're watching Command Center Game Day live on the Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and you're listening to the Washington Commanders football.
Washington Commanders football is back, and so is our BOGO. On Game Day, buy 1 large pizza and get a 2nd large pizza for free. Order online or download the app today. Paisanos, official pizza partner of the Washington Commanders.
The odds of the universe forming, your parents meeting and birthing you is basically 0. So what is life? A chance, and every moment a bet. Like hearing your alarm, betting if the milk is still milk, betting on the durability of grocery bags, and betting when politics will come up at dinner. Yes, we all bet on the game of life, but life doesn't offer you $150 in free bets when you bet just 5. So when it comes to the NFL, bet on America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel, and make every moment more.
Finding the Honda you really want just got easier. With a longer limited warranty, so long. And complimentary oil changes within the first year. You've never been more at peace than with Honda Certified Pre-Owned.
Dude, fire. Grill master, huh?
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
After the game Thursday night, we were walking out the locker room, going to the bus, and he like, Big Fletcher. So we talk a little bit, and I'm like, man, you look like yourself. You know, I saw your bird starting to, make some nice cuts. He said, yeah, it's only gonna get better. That's your mindset. Yeah, so, what can we expect from you moving forward? This is the last question for me.
What y'all can expect from me is that, man, I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna try to get better every day. I'm gonna try to make improvements on every part of my game. It don't matter. Like, I'm never satisfied with nothing. I don't know when I'll ever be satisfied with anything. But, man, I want to put my best foot forward. I want to perform, put my best performance out there. I'm still getting there, it's physically. But when I get there, I promise you, like, I will not be stopped.
Yeah.
John Allen's huge interception last Thursday's win over the Bears is our intelligent play of the game, presented by Fognigma. Command the cloud and dominate cyber operations with Fognigma. Joining us now is London Fletcher. You heard him on that call as well. He joins us each and every day that the team is on the field. Joins us now again. Okay, London, that was exciting. To be able to see, and we were really needing this defense to step up. They were last in the league in turnovers and takeaways, and we know today they're going to need to do that again.
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember going into that game, that was a point of emphasis that we were talking about several times on the air about this would be a great opportunity to get some turnovers. No difference in this ball game. You know, although Aaron doesn't particularly turn the ball over a lot, he has thrown, 4 interceptions already this year. There were 3 interceptions this year already, only 4 total last year. If we could get pressure on him, maybe we can force some fumbles, force some errant throws by him, but we definitely would love to get some turnovers in this ball game.
He's already been sacked 15 times so far this season. He's on pace for 43 on the year. He was sacked only 30 times last year because our offensive line continues to have issues that they're trying to figure out how to do, and they're going to be down David Bakhtiari as well, which is really huge to not have him out there as well. You played against Aaron Rodgers, and if we talk about his numbers this year, he's actually having in many categories a career low, but a career low for Aaron Rodgers, many quarterbacks would probably prefer to have on any game day. What is it that makes him so dynamic?
Man, he is just such a special talent. His arm talent is unlike anybody else. You'll see Aaron on the field, and for him to throw like a 50-yard ball down the field, and it's just like a flick of the wrist. It's not like he has to wind up and throw the football like a lot of people do, a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, his ability to fit the ball into tight windows, the back shoulder throws, his mobility. I know he's not the same type of guy he was from a mobility standpoint as he was when I went against him, but you always had to worry about that, and also his ability to manipulate the snap count, draw you off sides with the hard count, and take shots down the field. So you have to be aware of all those things when you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers.
The Packers are 24th in the NFL in points scored. They're down more than a quarterback from what they were scoring last year as well. And Aaron said one of the reasons is they need to simplify the offense. Head coach Matt LaFleur is like, I don't know necessarily that's what we do need to do. But what are going to be the keys for defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio and his unit today?
First and foremost, with Bakhtiari being out, you figure you don't anticipate the Packers trying to throw the football all over the yard. So it's going to be, hey, stop the run first and foremost. Be able to contain A.J. Dillon and also Aaron Jones. Put the Packers in some 3rd and long situations, 3rd and 6 pluses, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10 pluses, and that'll allow our defensive front to get after Aaron Rodgers. You mentioned him being sacked 15 times already this year. We have a defensive front that can take advantage of them guys in obvious pass rush situations, but we have to earn the right to rush the passer, and the way you do it is by stopping the run.
And he is one of the most sacked quarterbacks when he is in 3rd and long situations in the league as well, but he is 0-3 here at FedEx Field, so maybe there's some home cooking going on for Washington. Will Washington be able to run the ball today? Because we know the Packers are giving up a lot of yards on the ground.
You hope so, and I think it'll be something that we lean on a lot with Taylor at the quarterback position. I like the way we were able to run the football 10 days ago against the Chicago Bears. You could see Brian Robinson Jr. getting his burst back, getting his feel back, and then when Antonio Gibson came in the ball game, he actually really sparked us in that game, making some plays outside. I see us leaning heavily on that run game, and with that, when you do that, it allows you to go play action, and Taylor, he thrives in a play action game and being able to make some plays downfield. So not only can we run the football against the Packers, we have to be able to run the football against the Packers in order for us to be able to get some chunk plays in the passing game.
I'm looking forward to seeing how offensive coordinator Scott Turner decides to use Brian Robinson Jr., Antonio Gibson, and J.D. McKissick, all 3 very viable backs. It's a matter of how do you use one to maybe set up the other to be able to have some of those big yardage gains as well. Give me a couple of 2 or 3 players that are going to be key that need to step up today.
I think our tackles will be challenged when you look at the edge rushers for the Green Bay Packers. Cornelius Lucas, he'll have to be he'll be faced with having to defend against Rashawn Gary, their best pass rusher. And we all know Preston Smith. He played here for 4 years, and I'm sure he'll look to have a big game. So Charles Leon Jr. will have to play a nice game. And on the defensive side, one guy that we don't talk a lot about is Rashad Wild Goose. He's going to have a challenge in the slot. That last year when I watched them play, they moved Alan Lazard into the slot a lot, and he made some plays. So I can imagine them doing that same thing this year. So Wild Goose is going to have to play big for us.
All right, and I know mentioned Preston Smith. He was drafted here, was traded away in 2019. He was excited to come back and see some of the guys that he was on that unit with, see how he does today. Okay, thank you so much, London. Kickoff is not far now. Up next, we're going to take a look around the NFL and get nostalgic with Bram Weinstein and some of his all-time greats that are in attendance here at FedEx Field this afternoon. You're watching Command Center Game Day Live on our social media platforms and on YouTube, and this is the Washington Commanders Football Radio Network.
5 minutes, fellas. 5 minutes.
I appreciate it, man. Oh, okay. You getting that bet in before the boom, huh?
Yeah, LA all the way.
What? Oh, come on, man. You know it's Boston, baby.
KG, I understand why you said it, but it's LA.
Jay, are you serious?
You know what? It's LA.
Why are you standing up?
Because it's LA. You know what? You ain't scaring me. Let me tell you something. That ain't
Boston, Boston, Boston.
It's LA.
From selecting the perfect produce and triple checking its quality to preparing it for you, we have perfected the art of fresh.
This is Maya Titan. She's smiling because her small culinary supply store, Titan's Pans, is up and running. And this is NFL star Derrick Henry, accidentally tagging Titan's Pans instead of his loyal fans. Which, very unexpectedly, has her business trending. And trending, and trending, and oh my. And there goes the internet. Good thing Maya uses FedEx to help prepare for unexpected demand. Because you never know what's next.
Time now to go around the league, delivered by FedEx, where now meets next. Today's game broadcast is presented by the Washington Commanders Fan Cruise. It is setting sail in March. Hopefully you can join March 25th to April 1st. The destinations include Cozumel, Costa Maya, Honduras, and Royal Caribbean's exclusive private island in the Bahamas. We'll have a whole bunch of our legends and alumni on that fan cruise. Hopefully you can join it as well. Just go to visit commandersfancruise.com for more information. I'm not sure if I'm going to be going on that, Bram. I've got to see if my schedule allows and if I officially get invited or I just officially invite myself on it.
I'd like to go.
So
Okay.
just I'll put that out there publicly. I'll go. Be happy to hang out
We'll
on the
have
boat.
to talk to the people that are setting that up. But again,
Uh-huh.
it's going to be a great time. 7 days on the seas in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Hopefully you go as well. Let's go around the league.
Yeah.
And let's start, of course, in the NFC East. That's really what we care about right here and right now. And it is still Philadelphia that remains unbeaten at 6-0. They've got some secret sauce, and it's not just the quarterback as well that's making the plays down there.
They look the part. They get an early bye week here, so 6-0, get some rest. We're going to see them in about a month. No Carson Wentz, obviously, for the second go-around. Likely Taylor Heinicke when we get them again on Monday Night Football as Wentz went on IR. Listen, the moves they made in the offseason all felt right. They've all paid off so far. Now all of a sudden, like even when we played them a few weeks ago, Jordan Davis wasn't an integral part of the defense. Now he's starting to become that. It's really kind of come together for them. And I think it's fair to say, not just in record, but they're currently going best team in the NFC. And we'll see how things kind of, change after 49ers make a trade for Christian McCaffrey. And we have to assume that either the Rams or the Buccaneers, or hopefully not this team that we're playing today, kind of turn their seasons around. That things will change and materialize, but right now they're the team to beat in the NFC for sure.
Yeah, they rank in the top or in the near top of the top 10 in every major category. Of course, Hurts protecting the ball. He has 12 combined touchdowns. Sanders has already run for 500 yards. A.J. Brown really seems to be a great addition to them as well. Dallas, they were able to get 4 wins out of Cooper Rush, but after that loss in Philadelphia, they say, okay, Dak Prescott, you're healthy enough. Let's come back, and he's going to take on the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, Lions are off of a bye at least, but then got blown out the game before against New England. I don't know if they have the defense here to really down in Dallas to probably slow them down enough, but we haven't seen Dak play in 6 weeks. So let's see how the offense functions. I know there was a lot of hype about what Cooper Rush did because of the record. Their passing game was minimal at best. Washington really made them one-dimensional. I honestly, I think this is, obviously Dak's a humongous upgrade for them, but having not played in a month, 6 weeks, let's see what he looks like there. That said, I got a hard time seeing Detroit pulling it off an upset today in Dallas.
Meanwhile, the Giants, they are 5-1, winning 3 in a row over Chicago, Green Bay, and Baltimore. They're now in Jacksonville. Many folks are sitting there and anticipating and waiting for the G-men to say, okay, it was a false start. You're not really who we think you are?
I guess not.
No,
I guess not. It's funny getting ready for this game for Washington because they played the Packers 2 weeks ago in London. I was watching them a lot, and I got to tell you, I'm now more impressed watching them on tape a number of times. I think they probably deserve more credit. I know I've been sitting here every week waiting for them to kind of fall apart. I think a lot of people really have. I look at their roster, and I don't see a contending type roster there. It's first-year head coach and all this stuff. We'll say this, though. Daniel Jones looks better. He was very accurate in the game against them. Saquon Barkley looks like himself. And defensively, look, last week they made 2 plays against Lamar Jackson that were kind of inexplicable from Baltimore late to pull off that comeback. But they keep coming back in the second half. Very resilient team. Kind of remind me of Washington in 2020, a couple of years ago, where it's just like you don't know how they're doing it, but they're just kind of doing it. And, I think they need to their record says you need to start taking them a little more seriously.
I know many people are quick to rule out Daniel Jones, but a lot of those in New York are saying he's still a little bit underrated, doesn't really have anybody to throw to, so they're not ready to get off just yet. Daniel Jones getting it done. Fantasy football question. Who are your fantasy starters for both teams today here at FedEx Field?
So for Green Bay, Sammy Watkins comes back, which I think helps Alan Lazard. So I think that's the person that I would watch on Green Bay. Lazard today to potentially have a big game. We'll see how the corner situation works out with Washington today. No William Jackson III. And for Washington, let's get Terry going. Terry had 7 for 122 against the Packers last year. Get a repeat effort with Taylor Heinicke back under center. More targets for the captain. Let's see him have a big day today.
I like it. The Fantasy Football Report is presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official partner of the Washington Commanders. When we come back, Fred Smoot is here for Alumni Homecoming Weekend. And then, Fred's always here because, we pay him to be here as well, because he's got to answer all your questions after the game. He's our host of a halftime and post-game shows. He joins me next on shutting down Aaron Rodgers today. You are watching Command Center Game Day live on the Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and you're listening to Washington Commanders football.
Toyota is the #1 selling retail brand in America, thanks to a steady supply of new vehicles, which means faster delivery to you. Choose a Tacoma right now with low 2.49% APR. Or take 3.49% financing on the all-new Tundra. Or check out a 4Runner with the best resale value of any off-road SUV for '22, according to Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com. Visit your Toyota dealer and reserve yours today. Toyota, let's go places.
Why 24 though? Go ahead. So why 24 for you though? Because it means something to me.
Definitely. For me, it was kind of like a family thing. My mom played sports. My sister played sports. So
what sports they play?
Softball, basketball.
So your mom was where you get athletic ability?
Oh yeah, for sure. Pops too, but mom definitely did it all. All the way to like middle school, I wore number 24. I actually got a tub full of jerseys, like regular jerseys, number 24. And then when I got here, they gave me the choice of 24 and 14.
Yeah.
I went with that 24 again.
I grew up, my dad played for the Cowboys. So one of the dudes that was on the team was a dude named Everson Walls.
Yep.
And Everson Walls was like my uncle, and he was a cornerback. And then I rocked 24. And then, and it was one of those things in the league. When I first came in the league, everybody was rocking 21. I put on 24, then next thing you know, I tell Champ and Wood and all those guys, everybody wear 24.
You started the trend.
Yeah, so 24 just was one of those numbers, man, that just fit right, looked good. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Definitely.
Yeah,
sure.
You look good in 24, by the way, too. By the way, you look good in 24.
Welcome back in. We are live on the concourse near Section 232. Hopefully, if you are coming on out to the games, you'll be coming, watching, and joining us here. It's also Homecoming Alumni Weekend, so we've had a lot of our great alums coming around enjoying the weekend. Of course, Fred is here each and every week with us, but a special time for you to get to mix and mingle some former teammates and some of those that you probably grew up, idolizing a little bit as well.
Oh, most definitely. It's National Old Folks Week when it comes to the team. And listen, I have really enjoyed everybody, and I've enjoyed doing this one thing. I only hung with the winners this week. I only hung
There's a lot of them.
I only hung with Mark Rypien, Ricky Sanders, Gary Clark, Art Monk. I told all my other friends I ain't rolling with y'all. I done been regular with y'all for too long. I only chill with the ring bearers.
Yeah, you were at that lunch where we were down at the park as well.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine us at a DB talking with Art Monk, Ricky Sanders, and Gary, probably talking about how you'd shut them down. Maybe not.
You know what? The thing about it is, like I told him, they are so different and so great at what they did. It probably would have been hard for me to shut them down. But if I had my guys, my Sean Springs, my Sean Taylors, my LaRon Landrys, I think we could have gave them a run for their money.
Yeah, they were one of the best for a reason, of course. 3 Super Bowls were celebrated with Coach Gibbs as well. They were a big part of that as well. Okay, let's bring it back to today, though, because Washington, their season has been out to a very frustrating, very disappointing start at 2-4. But you have the Green Bay Packers 3-3. Mm-hmm. They have started the Packers 3-3 before and actually went on to win the Super Bowl. They ended up winning 10 games that season. But we do not want them to get hot today. So what is, to you, the biggest matchup that we need to do to try and get this game?
First of all, let me say the record's great. I think Aaron Rodgers 1-3 against us. So he
has not won at FedEx Field, so 0-3 at FedEx Field.
So what I'm saying, he 0-3 at FedEx Field. And let me report the genuine news. Now, everybody loves Green Bay, and they ride in Green Bay. It could be the most overhyped franchise of all time. They've only had 40 consecutive years of a Hall of Fame quarterbacking, only to get 2 Super Bowls out of it. I'm sorry, that's lackluster. And right now, they haven't been playing as well. I think this is not the game for them to get well. I think it's a great matchup, and I think we have a great chance to win this game today.
So Washington has been giving up a lot of explosive plays. I think they are second worst in the league at giving up deep passes as well. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers this season has not been connecting on those, but he hasn't had the receiving core maybe to go and stretch the field. Sammy Watkins is coming back off of injury.
Yeah.
Maybe he draws a defender, but we don't know entirely how much attention or how much of an impact he will potentially have. What do you see the biggest reason for there being breakdowns in the secondary?
Well, we can sit here and say communication, and beat that dead horse. They have to be on the same page, and they have to be connected to the front. We haven't seen that one game where the front and the back end are truly connected. I think this could be this game, because if you watch the Jet game when they played the Green Bay Packers, it all started up front with Quentin Williams and the rest of those guys really getting out to Aaron Rodgers and making him uncomfortable. That's the one thing about pro quarterbacks. Comfortable quarterbacks make touchdowns. Uncomfortable quarterbacks make mistakes. And if you can make Aaron Rodgers get out there and make mistakes, because let's be honest, he doesn't have a Devontae Adams relationship with none of these new guys. And this is not the game to let them get on pace and make those plays. So it all starts with John Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, that dirty dog. It all starts with them right now.
They had 6 drops in the game against the Jets, his receivers did. His favorite target in that game was the tight end Tunyon. He had 12 targets and 10 receptions for 90 yards.
All right.
So you have to be able to stop the tight end today. Who does that fall on?
That falls on the linebackers. That falls on the safety. I want to see a lot of Cameron Curl when it comes to Tunyon, because you're right. Tunyon moves the sticks. All right, that's something that we haven't had a good thing with right now, is getting the tight ends involved, having them to move the sticks, having them to keep the ball going. That's what extend drive. So that's what I'm hoping Heinicke can do right now. Because let's be honest, he grew up a Packers fan. He would rather do nothing than his new coming than come here and beat the Green Bay Packers today.
So Green Bay gives up 4.9 yards per carry. Washington 4.5 yards per carry on the year, the running back. How are you anticipating with Taylor Heinicke this offense looking? Run, pass, a mix?
Well, that's the great thing
Scott
about
Turner, what are you calling?
And let's be honest. Heinicke knows this playbook as good as anybody in this offense. You don't have to change anything. Now, what you really want to do is get Heinicke on the move, give him some easy throws, a lot of rollouts, some bootlegs, get him on the edge so he has a clear path to push the ball down the field. Everybody want to talk about he don't have the unscreens. Let me be honest with you. He's had a whole offseason to get stronger, and I think he can push the ball down the field. I like the way that he makes plays off track, and I think that's going to be good for us today when it comes to the passing game and the running game.
You know, I was walking in just a shade behind Taylor Heinicke today. He was wearing a jacket just like I am right now. He was wearing a black jacket, though. I've got the pink one as well.
All right.
This is a line by DC proper. It is a black-owned business in DC. They are local. They created a line just for the Washington Commanders. So I got the early release of this one. It has the cherry blossoms.
Where's mine?
It has the Super Bowl numbers on it. It's very warm. It's the varsity jackets. Go to wearedcproper.com. Wearedcproper.com. To get yours as well. It's really cool. I'm glad to have this. And as well, we have a fan cruise.
All right.
You are going to be on this.
Yes, I am.
It is the Commanders fan cruise, March 25th to April 1st. They'll be going through Mexico, the Caribbean, Honduras.
Yes.
And who else is going to be joining you on this?
Everybody that's old you can think of. Everybody from what I know right now is going to be Santana Moss Airways. I think it's going to be Brian Mitchell. It's going to be tons of guys. We're going to have a lot of fun. See, that's what it's all about. It's about player and fan interaction. What better thing can we do than see the world together?
And you can have Commander-themed events and activities on board, celebrating the past, the present, and future on the team with up to 30 Washington legends. I think some current players might be going as well. For more information, visit commandersfancruise.com. Okay. You feel good about this one?
I feel good about it. I feel like we're going to get a win today. I think we match up well against them. At the end of the day, today is our day. We got winners here, and ain't no better present you can get these Super Bowl winners than a winner. It's winning in the air right now, so I think we win this game.
Fred Smoot is our hype man. He's got everybody out here on the concourse cheering and celebrating. We love
Come
the
on,
burgundy
make some
and
noise,
gold.
baby. Make
That
some
is
noise.
out here.
Make some
It better
noise.
be louder than anybody wearing green today. When we come back, my conversation with head coach Ron Rivera is coming up next as the Commanders coach prepares for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in a pivotal NFC matchup. You're watching Command Center Game Day live on the Washington Commanders YouTube and social media platforms, and this is the Washington Commanders Football Radio Network.
It's fourth down, seconds on the clock. He hands it off, finds a hole in the middle. Clear, nothing but incredible. A touchdown for the win. I can't believe it.
Pizza, better with Pepsi.
Finding the Honda you really want just got easier. With a longer limited warranty,
so long. And complimentary oil changes within the first year. You've never been more at peace than with Honda Certified Pre-Owned.
With the Game of Life scratch-off from the Maryland Lottery, all roads lead to fun. Play the Game of Life scratch-off today and get your chance to win up to $1 million.
Washington Commanders football is back, and so is our BOGO. On game day, buy 1 large pizza and get a second large pizza for free. Order online or download the app today. Paisanos, official pizza partner of the Washington Commanders.
Honestly, he's pretty much perfect the way he plays, so you kind of got to minimize the gift that you give as a defense and the mistake that you do. If you play a perfect defense and you don't give any explosive play, like as we call it, gifts, you're going to be in for a good game and you're winning. But if you start giving him like the opportunities to go out there and make those big plays, because he's not going to mess up that many times, so don't give him the opportunity.
Got one of the all-time greats at the position. He's extremely accurate. Good decision maker. He can throw the ball from a lot of different slots, a lot of different angles. Gets it out, makes decisions, and gets it out really, really quick. So, he's one of the elite players at the quarterback position. Has been for a long time doing it. So, a lot of respect for him, and geared up, ready to go.
Having the familiarity with Taylor, I know we've had some quarterback changes over the years, and but having a guy that you've had work with, that the receiver group has worked with, that makes things a smooth transition. I think his ability just to extend plays is really big for us. The heart in which he plays with, I feel like a lot of our guys galvanize behind that. And I know he's going to give us a good chance to be successful this weekend. So we're up for the challenge against a good Green Bay team who's trying to get back on track. And, we want to try to get another win in the win column.
We are brought to you by Window Nation. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and pay nothing until 2025. Visit windownation.com. So each week I had the opportunity to talk with our head coach, Ron Rivera, and about the challenges that this team has faced, because it seems like week in and week out it's a player up and it's a player down. Unfortunately, this week it was a player down with Carson Wentz, his quarterback, going under surgery. Stability at the quarterback position has been something this team has not had as of late. But they do have a quarterback they can go to that is quite familiar with the system and with playing under center, and that is Taylor Heinicke. It is his turn to go. Here's my conversation with the head coach. Coach, let me start with your quarterback. Here you go again, having to make adjustments. Carson Wentz undergoes surgery on his finger for his throwing hand. Of course, we wish him the absolute best, but what is the expectation for him, like in the recovery and coming back?
Well, the biggest thing is it's somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. It was his ring finger on his throwing hand, obviously, something that's really important. So it's going to take a little bit. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, Taylor Heinicke.
It is always that next man up mentality. And one thing we heard from Taylor is any man in that locker room would be lying to you if they said they weren't excited for the opportunity, albeit you don't like it to have to come at the expense of somebody unfortunately being injured. We have seen him all of last season take over this offense. Where, though, will we see something potentially different from him, or will we, in growth?
Well, we most certainly will see the growth. I think one of the things that you really saw is Taylor's confidence and comfort in what we were doing offensively during the preseason. And you saw it this week during practice. There were some things that he did which were really good, things that we know he can do and he can do well. We're going to focus on what he's done in the past and had success with. We'll focus on some of the things that we've implemented now with the current playmakers we have.
His skill set's a little bit different than Carson Wentz's, which is why you went out to get Carson. We talk a lot about how Carson has that arm and the ability to really stretch the field. Taylor, not afraid to go out and use his legs maybe a little bit more. How much do you adjust the play calling based on Heinicke being back there?
I think you do. You take a look at the things that he does well. Play action's one of them. Pocket movement's another one. So we've got to put him in positions where he can have success, where we will use the play action, we will use some pocket movement, we'll use some boot action, some waggle action, all those types of things to give him a chance to find throwing lanes and get the ball downfield.
We hear that he kind of provides a little bit of a spark. I mean, he plays and leaves everything out on the line. They call him like a little bit of a gamer. He even says, like, I'm not the best at practice. That's not my strength. But he's best at going out there and just finding ways to make something happen. What is it that you want to see from the offense with him out there?
Consistency. I mean, we should be able to run the football. It's something that we've talked about doing. We worked a lot of it on in training camp. You know, obviously having B-Rob miss the first 4 weeks and now getting him back has given us an opportunity to do some things differently. And I think as we continue to grow inside this offense with that running game, it should help us as far as play action is concerned and just straight drop back pass as well.
And the Packers will allow you to run. They're giving up a lot of yards on the ground, so should be another great opportunity for Robinson and Antonio Gibson out there. Let me ask you about Aaron Rodgers, though. He himself has been dealing with a thumb injury, missing a couple days of practice, trying to make sure that he's just good to go on Sunday. He says a high tolerance for pain. He should be out there. But this is not the same Aaron Rodgers offense that we're used to seeing. What do you see happening there?
Well, I think, first of all, they have a mix of wide receivers. Several of them have been hurt, but probably the biggest thing has been the loss of Devontae Adams. You know, he and Aaron had a great rapport. I mean, tremendous. And anytime those two were working together, a lot of good things happened for them offensively, and it also helped the rest of their offense. Now they don't have that bell cow type of receiver. They don't have that guy that Aaron knows he can count on. He's now trying to develop that rapport with the guys he has.
Sammy Watkins could potentially be returning as well. They are coming in on a 2-game losing streak. Are there other areas for them that you feel like maybe you can exploit on a team that has been struggling lately?
Well, I think the biggest thing we have to pay attention to really is their running game. You know, we've got to be able to handle their running game. We've got to slow it down because that way it doesn't allow the play action to be as effective. You know, look at their defensive side. You know, they have some opportunities. We have some opportunities if we can run the ball successfully, because then it helps us with the play action. So it's going to be an interesting game.
A lot of extra time because of the Thursday night game to get prepared for Green Bay. How did you spend that time?
Well, Friday and Saturday, for the most part, we came in and worked and really did some self-evaluation. Looked at some of the things that we needed to get better at, some of the things that we did well, and figuring out how we can continue to use those things and work on to make them even better. And then we also did a little bit of prep for Green Bay. Gave the coaches off Sunday, came back in on Monday, had a whole day because we gave the players an extra day because our real bye doesn't happen until December. So we wanted to get the guys out. So on Monday, the coaches were able to focus completely on Green Bay, put together the majority of the plan. We had an early practice meeting and practice with the players on Tuesday, then got them out, and the coaches finished the rest of the plan as far as Green Bay was concerned.
And that was brought to you by Window Nation. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and pay nothing until 2025. Visit windownation.com. You are listening to Washington Commanders football.